Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Admiral Dadman Turned summary for January 13th. Now, we did actually have a few interesting occurrences this turn, now namely that being the well-discussed entry of the American carriers here once again, which is going to be rather intriguing actually. It does look very much likely that there are the three carriers here. We're seeing two carriers over here. We can more or less identify that as the two carriers that we've seen beforehand. We are seeing reports there of CVCVCA, but very likely that would in fact be the third American carrier at this point. Maybe something else, but I'm going to say probably the third American carrier. The fact that it's carrying fighters, there's bombers there as well. There is auxiliary, but auxiliary could of course be float planes aboard heavy cruisers and the like. So it's very likely that this is all three of the American carriers. Now the interesting thing is we do see that their direction of travel is northeast, which obviously indicates something like a direction like this. I think his positioning really does tell what his intended target is, which is likely Rabaul, which is currently 13 hexes away. He's very deliberate in how he moves his carriers. He is very deliberate. I think Talagi is one of those of where it's not the main target, because if Talagi was the main target, he could have simply gone to the south over here and he would have been outside any sort of danger that might have been presented from Rabaul and Ley and the entire Solomon Sea area. He could have gone south. He could have gone, like, literally, he has a plethora of choices. He could have gone there, and that's that. He would have been able to hit Talagi. So I think his actual direction, I think his positioning, I think that definitely does indicate that Rabaul is very much likely to be the target there. So how are we going to respond to this? Well, what we're going to do then is we do have a midget submarine over here, HAL 14, which is going to be a patrol on Talagi. We do have the patrol boats moving in different directions to try and either escape or draw potential fire. I do have a Nissan Maru. She is in dock. She's docked and she's unloading. Now, we do have the light cruiser Nagara and Katakame. They're moving out at full speed. We're not going to run directly into him, but we are going to run towards Rabaul, to where air cover is, essentially. But we're going to run towards Rabaul, the idea being, well, if he does continue north, we might have a chance of potentially intercepting him there with the Katakame and the Nagara, as we've tried beforehand. We're not going to go for where he is now, but where we think he probably would head. If he doesn't actually strike them, if we don't end up in combat, then that's fine. They can continue on towards Rabaul. At least then they have a chance to survive and potentially being used in action therefore after. But it's a very likely chance that we do have an interception over here potentially. And this is it. They could go down in flames, but the worst we lose is a light cruiser and the destroyers. But that gives us a chance to potentially strike at heavy cruisers and of course potentially strike at carriers. That would obviously be the dream there. We know from obviously our past experience that light cruisers and destroyers can definitely get things done. Even against superior forces, they can definitely get things done. Of course, we haven't had the luxury of having as many ships as he does, but there does come inherent risk with that as well. There's still a chance that we can obviously fire off our torpedoes. I mean, this is a thing. He's going to be able to kill the light cruisers there without a doubt, I imagine. But he has to get the shells in there, and they don't go down after the first shot. I mean, that would be exceedingly rare, I'd imagine, to have a kill on the first shot. But this is it. They're still going to launch their armaments. They're still going to fire. They're going to slow him down, keep him in the area somewhat. They might cause damage. They might set ships aflame. They might make it easier for them to be hit in the future. And he's using ammunition that he obviously does need. I mean, that's something we've got to bear in mind there. But it also does help to actually locate where the enemy is for everything else as well, which is very useful. So that's what we're doing there. We do have the other tankers. They're in Talagi here, docked up. As our other ships over here. The reason why they're docked is if he's going for a potential... Well, he can go naval strike, and then he can have a secondary mission as port strike. He may very well have the carriers potentially set out, so one carrier might do naval strike, one carrier might do port strike, one carrier might do naval and port strike, sort of thing like that. We can't really judge how he's going to do that. But if he does go for a port strike, it is harder to actually hit... You need like a certain level of ships in the port to make it easier. Above 10, port strikes become more effective, but under 10 they're not as effective. And this is it. I don't think Talag is the main port goal. There are ships in here of value, but the issue is we're going to have to just try and hope for the best there. I mean, we could lose all the ships in this area and it would hurt, but it wouldn't set us back tremendously. It would hurt, of course, but it wouldn't set us back tremendously if we have a chance to actually striking at the carriers there. Better yet, actually damaging them would be amazing, but that might very well happen. We do have all the submarines over here, so I've got a rough patrol pattern around this area, so the submarines could move into this area over here, and essentially trying to close the door behind him, so if he does actually move into here and actually is somewhat damaged, we may then be able to pick him off using submarines potentially. But essentially what we want to do is make this harder for him. I mean, the Solomon Sea is a nasty piece of work, because there's a barrier here, there's a barrier here, there's a barrier here. It looks huge, it looks very open, but in reality, it is not. It is definitely not open. You can see over here all these lines, all these coral reefs actually do restrict movement. Of course, the landmass restricts movements, this restricts movements. So the Coral Sea might look huge, and you think, well, these are 40 miles. I mean, that's huge, that's hundreds of miles of open ocean. Yeah, but when it comes to carrier ops and aircraft ops, then that's not a lot of room to have to maneuver there. You really want to have unimpeded mobility, and if he continues to move into here, he may not, but it looks likely. He's already within, excuse me, he's already within the range of the G3M2s of Raphael, which is good. So Raphael, at the beginning of this turn, had something like 16 zeros, the 20-odd A5M4s, they were being ready to move out of the area to be resized. We didn't really have much in the way of capabilities. We had torpedoes, well, at the HQ, but other than that, we didn't really have torpedo bombers. We had the G3s over here. They've since been moved from Leh. But I have gone ahead and moved in the H6K4s from Inuit to Leh. So we have H6K4s at Leh, H6K4s at Tulagi over here as well, just to make sure we have as much naval search as possible in the area. And, well, we have been able to work some wonders over here into Raphael itself. So we do have the 23 A5M4s we have here. Yep, so there's a total of 81 fighters present now. We have been able to draw upon the Yamada detachment, reform that. We do have additional zeros that could be potentially moved here in days to come as well, which I'll go over. And we do have 7 over here from the Zuho. We do have another 10 here from the other Zuho detachment. So, I mean, that's not a huge number of zeros, but that's still a good number of zeros. It's more zeros than what we had previously. It might be potentially more zeros than he is potentially expecting, and more resistance than he's expecting. We do have here then a total of 75 G3M2s. I did pull the squadron from Makassar over here. They do, of course, have fatigue build-up, but this is it. If they don't fly today, if they don't fly the first day, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, because that means that there's going to be a larger amount of escort. And even if we can wear down his actual, well, his capabilities, his aircraft squadrons, that's still good. Best would be, of course, to actually hit the ships, but we'll see. He can't replace his carrier aircraft very quickly. And this is it. If we could reduce the actual strength of his carrier air wings significantly, it might very well be that we bring the Kitabatai back around and actually do hunt him down with the Kitabatai against a weakened US and carrier air group there. But that would be rather intriguing. So we do have these. These guys are already within range. They can obviously range out to 15 hexes, but we're keeping them at 14. So he's already within range of the G3M2s, which have a range of 14. He's at 13 hexes. Well, they have a natural normal range of 15, but we're going to have them set at 14, so they could be covered by these zeros. So that's good. We do have here the B4Y1 genes that were previously, well, were resized aboard the BLeAcHACiD yesterday. And we have the B5N2K from the BLeAcHACiD over here as well. So we have 13 here. This is a 93 squadron, so there's more that could be potentially moved in here. They're not the most amazing things in the world, but this is it. We've seen what biplanes can do. We've seen what they can do. They've got a great range. So it's one less range than the B5N2K. They still carry the same armament of the 18-inch Type 91 torpedo. They do have 18 durability, 24 maneuverability. Max speed is low. They're slow. But man, there's still 30 of them. And they could get in there, and they could land home a strike there. And that is all that matters. If we compare that to the B5N2 Kate, you can see the Kate is obviously faster, more durable, but I think they have less maneuverability, and maneuverability could be quite good, actually. Yes, 24 maneuverability. How does that look then? Okay, so they don't have maneuverability band, that's just what their maneuverability is. Obviously, that makes sense. So they do have a little bit more maneuverability there. They're not as tough, they're slower, but they have a little bit more maneuverability. And that might make them harder to actually target. It may mean that they take a little bit longer to be hit, but that's going to be intriguing. I mean, this is it. The good news is we do have the G3M2s in some great numbers here. These guys are slightly, I think it's about 2 miles an hour slower at max, or 3 miles per hour slower than the B5N2K at max, or cruise, it's one of those. It's a little bit slower, just slightly slower. But they do have a greater defensive armament. We do have some MGs at the front, at the side, at the tail. Yeah, well, obviously at the top of the aircraft. We also do have a 20mm cannon in the rear, which is good. They actually do have more maneuverability than the B5N2 Gates. They have 2 less than the B4Y1s. They're also more durable than both. And, yeah, they do have far greater range. And, of course, they carry the Type 91 torpedoes there. So, it's going to be quite the interesting engagement, really, if he does come. If he does, that's going to be intriguing. So, yep, these guys are at 14, 14, 14. These guys are set to 100% cap over Rabaul here. I mean, that's the beauty. We're going to have them down at 6,000 feet. So they're there really to fly interference. They're not great. We know that they can't do tremendous amounts against aircraft. But even if they can take down a few, or even if they can actually cause problems and lead to him being tied up, him taking more damage than he would really prefer, that's still going to be quite good. But it gives us more. It gives us more to actually work with here, which is nice. They're not the best. We're not going to put good pilots in them, per se. But they can run that interference. That is going to be quite good for us. Now, of the ships over here on Rabaul, I am moving them out. There's obviously going to be a huge amount of task forces in this area. I'm going to be laying mines, additional mines at Rabaul as well. We're going to have ships moving out here as well to try and run interference. And it's going to be rather intriguing. The thing is, we need him to move closer. Even at that distance, we could still strike. But it would be better. If he moves in closer, that would be excellent. You can see that is 6 hexes. We really want him to be about 6, 7 hexes. 6 hexes would be great. So if he moves forward 7 hexes, then he's going to be within range of everything, potentially. But that's going to be very intriguing. If we do manage to get that damage in there, that would be very, very nice. But we'll have to see, really. We're trying to do everything that we can to make sure that we succeed over here. We do have patrol boats move around. There's things all around the area. If he moves in here, then we can try and shut the door on him. It's going to be intriguing. It is going to be intriguing. We very much stand the chance to lose a great number of airframes. We wish that we could get more zeros here, but we're going to have to work with what we've got right now. Now, what I'm doing for potentially day 2 is I'm moving the Thailand KOS. So you can see that there's 43 there, 3 of them are damaged at the moment. They lost a couple on the way over here to Makassar, well, to Ternat. That's fine, we have 6 in reserve. We're going to give them that time to rest there as much as we can. But what we're going to do then is fly them in over here to likely lay. So that gives another 45 or so zeros to make use of. We do have the Akagi group over here, so we have the 18 there. We do also have aboard the Akagi, if I find her, aboard the Akagi we do have, so there's going to be 15 there tomorrow. There's another 2 we have the D381 valves with resize as well. So we're going to have a lot of zeros available tomorrow. There's going to be like, what, 30, 40-ish, something like that, available at truck tomorrow. We do have additional zeros that can be moved in from elsewhere that are on their way. We moved out the transports over here to Tinian, but there's a lot of assets being moved into the area, which is good news. Essentially, if we do get that damage in, that would be amazing. If we could make this a 2-day long affair, we could potentially inflict some grievous casualties, and likely sustain some grievous casualties, but all we need is a couple torpedoes to hit home, and that changes a lot of things for us. Even reducing his carrier air power could reduce his capabilities for some time yet. What we're doing over here to the north is I'm going to go ahead and move the Kiribatai towards Wake. They're going to be following Task Force 9-4, which is that one there. So they're going to be heading into this position over here, which is about 6 hexes out from Wake. What I'm going to do is run reconnaissance over Wake. We do have the amphibious force getting ready to move in as well. They're going to be setting out today. I do have a heavy cruiser and 2 destroyers moving to link up with them. So what I'm going to be doing then is going to be running reconnaissance in the area. We're going to be running naval search. We're going to really get a sense of what is actually at Wake before we go in there. The greatest likelihood is that we actually go ahead and we bombard the living hell out of Wake before we do invade. But the good news is we're going to keep the Kiribatai over here for this operation and make sure the Wake operation succeeds. And this is it. We're not even having to use our carrier aircraft per se. Oh, we also do have a D3A1 valves over here as well. So we have 16 of these guys ready at the moment. With them another reserve in there. Well, 2 more reserves in there. So we might have additional ones ready tomorrow. So that's really good news for us, really. There's a lot of aircraft here at Rabaul. There's a lot of aircraft. And if we go over here, we can see that there's now 243 aircraft. Obviously, 211 ready. 13 not ready, 19 in reserve. Obviously, the airfield, sorry, is overstacked. but we do have the 3rd Air Division, which I've gone ahead and I looked at the commander here. We actually do have a really superb commander. He's got air of 78. He's one of the best, if not the best, in terms of air there that we have available for use. I've gone ahead and gone through the squadrons and changed out squadron commanders as well to try and influence the chances. I've given the Kitak Army a superior captain as well, so we're looking alright there. But elsewhere, what I'm doing here then is the heavy cruiser group at Kopang has been rearmed this turn. So Nachi has been rearmed, and she's going to be headed down here to sink the 2 ships over here. Essentially, we're going to send a message that nothing can leave the area. We are going to sink it. We will find it. We will sink it. So that's going to be going ahead. I do have these torpedo boats moving further out from Java, just in case he actually does try to use his bombers. We can try to draw them out, try and increase ops losses, try and cause damage from actual torpedo boats there. We're going to try and cause as much of a problem as we can. I do have the zeros. Well, I have one of the... I have a 3rd KOS over here, which is going to be continuing to run sweeps from Palembang. But what I did then is actually moved the zeros over here to Bangkok, so we have 30 zeros there available for action. I have reformed the 1st Sentai, so we do have all the key 43s that are available for us now. What I'm going to do is, we do see movement over here from Rangoon, which is rather intriguing. So what I'm going to do then is actually move towards Bagu. It is going to take some time to move there towards Bagu. He does have a head start on us, so it's going to be intriguing. We can obviously cancel things should we wish to. But what I'm going to do then is begin moving them. I think it might be potentially worthwhile to possibly engage him. It really does depend on how much AV is going to send there to Bagu. But the thing is, if we can engage him in clear terrain, yes, we have inferior troops, yes, we have inferior tables or organisation for our divisions there. But the thing is, if we get a chance to engage British or Burmese forces or obviously Commonwealth forces in the open, then we can reduce them outside of Rangoon. He knows what's up. He knows the threat here. The reason why he's moving to Bagu is because he knows that if we get to Bagu, we could in fact ignore Rangoon and actually strike deeper into Burma, and he cannot simply allow that. He knows he has to do something about that. But the thing is, he only has a certain amount of assault value here at Rangoon to begin with. I don't think he's had the ability to move terribly much there, but if we can put pressure, like this is real pressure on Rangoon, this is real pressure on him in Burma, so that's going to be good. We'll see how that goes. Now, we are going to be launching an attack over here at Singapore tomorrow. We're rather on the borderline of like acceptable. I mean, that is, we'd probably want to rest there, but we'll go with that. The reason being, we haven't had as much airfield damage in the last few days as we would like. But we also do have the armoured regiments moving south. We do have the elements of the 4th Division. We also do have this element of the... we have the 114th Division here, so the regiment, which is going to be crossing the causeway. They're going to take 2 days to unpack, and then they're going to move across, which will take about 2 days or so. But they're going to be moving in there for Singapore, so we will have additional AV available for Singapore. It's held out significantly longer than I would have imagined, to be honest, but the end is coming. So what we'll do then is we'll attack it once again. We may succeed, we may fail, but if we do succeed, that's good. If we fail, that's fine. It reduces his numbers there to Singapore further. It ultimately takes down the fortifications again, so we can get the actual amount of airfield damage up there, so there's no more fortifications. It makes him weaker. And then also we'll have the influx of additional AV. We'll have, importantly, the armoured regiments as well. And Singapore is going to come to an end. It is going to be done by the end of the week. It will be ours. I think that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. We do see forces still moving out to Clark. What I'm going to be doing here then is giving them another day rest, and we'll see how that goes. Another day's rest is probably going to be enough, and then we'll attack after that. We had really good results. We had only 2-1 losses, which was really, really good, but we actually inflicted a significant amount of actual squad losses on him, like permanent destroyed. He destroyed a lot of engineers, but we still have a lot of engineers within the actual divisions themselves, and so it's going to be intriguing. We have reduced his fortifications as well to level 2, so we can reduce that down to level 1. But this is it. It's making it harder for him. And if he's moving forces out of Clark, that could make it even easier for us, really. So that's going to be intriguing. He has forces moving there. I was going to have the 33rd Infantry Regiment, the element of it, move there to Lucina. But what I've decided to do is actually march straight across over here, because we actually have a major road over here to Batangas. So if he's going to move south, that's fine. We'll move over there to Batangas, secure Batangas, and that it's one of those. They'll get beaten up. They may be destroyed, but the fact is that cuts him off then potentially from Manila, which is quite good then. And that could lead him into a situation where if we were to move upon Manila with our forces, he may be in a position where he can't pull out there. Or he may have to go south, or he may have to send his troops back north, but it's really interference. But just as it takes us 2 days to move in, we could potentially take 2 days to move out again, depending on what happens there. So that's something to bear in mind. We do have the Naval Guard unit over here. The Sasebo 1st SLF, sorry, Special Naval Landed Forces. I mean, they're not very strong. They have their full strength, but that's not very strong compared to what he has over here. But it's clear terrain, which isn't great. But he's going to have to fight us every step of the way down here, which is alright. We do have actual ships over here to evacuate the 5th Fleet should we need to. We do have a light cruiser and a destroyer. I'm going to bring another destroyer in here as well, so we'll have assets to ensure we can escape that area. So that's looking good. I do have the Kashi. The Kashi, she's going to be loading up the Yokosuka paratroopers there and getting them the heck out. But things are going well. I've gone ahead and moved in additional bombers here to San Fernando. We do have another 3 or 4 aviation units moving into San Fernando this turn. 20th, 37th, 37th. Okay, 2. I thought it was 4, but 2 is still good. So we'll have another 2 aviation units moving into San Fernando. So we are going to have significantly more bombers hitting Clark. And then what we can do after we hit Clark hard is we can start to then hit Bataan, we can start to hit Manila, and just essentially stop his ability to build further fortifications. I'm going to be launching a shock attack over here against the Chinese forces that were kicked out of Luoyang. They took a humongous kick in there. So we do have here 481 tanks in clear terrain. We will also have a division arrive this turn coming, which is the 116th Division, which has 433 sword value. So the 16th Division will arrive tomorrow as well, so we'll have a shock attack with a division and 400 odd tanks in clear terrain against forces that have been kicked out of the area and dramatically weakened, which is very nice. I am sending an additional division from Tinsen, the 26th Division, which I've reformed today. They're going to be heading over here to this base at Taiyuan, and then I'm going to have them march down this way. These forces marching this way, so we do have the 3 divisions. I'm going to try and get a 4th division out there. Try and get a good few divisions moving down this road. If I can move down this road here before he's ready to stop us, that's going to be great news. Then we can try and march on towards Xi'an. That'd be very nice. Over here in Northern, at Paramashiro-jima, it's actually getting quite busy over here towards Paramashiro-jima. Moving additional forces, moving additional assets, moving additional supply, additional ships. I decided to actually take the base forces to Paramashiro-jima and actually build it up and have it available then. It's one of those, if it is the first extremity of our northern sphere of influence, we might as well build it up and have the base forces potentially ready to move to Aleutians if we need to. It gives us something to work with there. I'll probably have them spread out and take care of the Kuril Islands, but I do have a Koi over here which is going to begin building Todofu. So that's something to work with there. Obviously I could reinforce it and send additional ones there, but I'll do that. I want to essentially focus on one base at a time, build one base up very quickly, and then go ahead and build up the other ones, because we might as well do it like that. If we spread out the engineers, it's going to take longer. We might as well just concentrate and build one up as we get the chance to. So we are going to have about... Yes, we are going to have 2 Naval Guard units over here, which is quite good. I mean, that's like 120 odd assault value or so. So we should be able to move in, and what we'll aim to do is secure all the islands within the same sort of turn. The only one that would be quite difficult would be Dutch Harbour, but we could potentially move in to secure Dutch Harbour. That'd be rather intriguing, really. But if we took Dutch Harbour, that would actually weaken him significantly in Aleutians, so it gives us quite a few bases there potentially to work with. And we could potentially then base submarines out from the Aleutian Islands and cause him a lot of problems there, really, in the future. So things are moving. It's actually proven to be quite an exciting turn, really. There's a heck of a lot going on. We're going to have some major events here, really. And ideally, I mean, he may not go north. Things may go south. He may just attack Talagi. He may just go that way. He may go that way. He may go that way. Who the hell knows? But we'll see. We shall see. For the glory of the Empire, we have to try. And, well, if we lose aircraft, we lose aircraft. If he loses aircraft, that's good. If he loses ships, that's better. If he loses both, that's better. We shall see. It will be an important day tomorrow. So there we go. Thank you for watching there, ladies and gentlemen. Tenaheka Banzai. Yeah, if you guys are enjoying this, please do go ahead and subscribe. I would really appreciate if people who do watch my content, who do comment, were to subscribe. It would make a tremendous difference. I would really like to try and aim for 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and there's not that long left, and I really, really want to try and break that goal there. I think that's going to be the goal for this year. That would be amazing. Probably not going to happen, but if you guys could help me out, that would be much appreciated. Ideally, that means I can actually improve the quality of my content and bring you more of it, really. But there we go. Thank you for watching there, guys. Until next time, goodbye for now.